you doing today?
Great. Thanks
Uh,
for taking the time to chat with me. I'm excited about it.
Thank you very much. Welcome to Real in Film. Trip, I just wanted to ask, did some research on your previous work. Most of them, or almost all of them, are based on nature that happen. Like, uh, it's like a message to the world saying that nature is trying to explain what it's there. What inspires you to continue making type of like documentary?
Mm. I mean, this is going to seem maybe a little bit simplistic, but I just like being out in nature a lot. And I mean, I like being out in nature, and I really, honestly, I have gotten so much out of my life um, from the deepest experiences have had in nature. The deeper the understanding and the sort of, you know, more profound the experience, the more I'm able to bring that back into my life and learn from it. And I think that that's, um, you know, it's it's made me a healthier and happier person. And I think that we're in this moment where things are changing, and nature, ecosystems, the wild lands are experiencing that quicker than we are because climate change is happening. The world is getting warmer. Humans can turn on AC or install AC in places like Portland, where I live, where we didn't used to have so much of it. Um, but trees and animals and other plants can't move as quickly. So it's, the rate of change is worse for them. And so that's part of, what I see, in those moments that are restorative for me when I go outside and enjoy it. And that's also part of what I want to share, I think, with the world, to just be like, okay, we need to remember how this is, how connected we are to all of this. And how, even if we're not burning, oh, sorry for the metaphor, but most of us aren't burning quite as quickly, or like experiencing that change quite as significantly as a lot of the ecosystems around us. So yeah, I want to bring that to a story that's like understandable for folks to see and hear.
No, that's watching Elemental. It brings out aspect of yourself in this film. You are bringing the aspect of how nature is affected, how firefighters are trying to avoid or try to fight these natural disasters that can happen by a very simple spark of anything to ignite. As well, you bring the perspective of scientists, homeowners from California area. Uh, how impacting was it while you were filming those scenery on fire, and while you when you got those clips from, I imagine, from homeowners and everything, when they were going through the fire trying to escape, how did it make you feel while you were like editing or preparing the film?
Well, I mean, I've got to say, like, boy, I've seen this film a lot of times. You work on it in post, and you know, my editor has seen it more than I have. And it's always surprising to me, the things that I still just get me emotionally this far into the process, right? I mean, we're in the sixth year of this project, the distribution year, and when I watch the first scenes from the Escape from Paradise, there's, there's images, there's video of this family, and this mother says, she's trying to get out. There's fire on all sides. People's tires are exploding. She can hear them, and she's shooting video of this. So you can see this on screen unfold. And in the interview, she said, "I was just trying to touch my children because I was worried it would be the last time I'd ever get to touch them." And still, this many times later, I start to cry. I get a lump in my throat. I just feel this. I'm with her in that seat. And I mean, that's just such it fully encapsulates why we wanted to make this film. That should never happen to anyone ever again. in, the technology that we have, the advancements in science, the deep historical knowledge we can learn from indigenous people, there's no excuse. We should not, mothers, fathers, families shouldn't be having that experience. And we can change the way that we've designed our communities and our homes. We can change the way that we approach wildland fire to prevent that. But we have to understand the changes and we have to do them now. And so that's, yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of why we made the film.
Oh, again, the thing is, the reason why I asked is myself, I'm from Puerto Rico. When Hurricane Maria happened, uh, when first day that I got out, it was shocking. So when I just saw the first scenes and seeing the mother claiming for like, yeah, I don't know if this is the last time I touch kids, um, and it's very shocking how simple a simple thing just destroy everything. um, and you can feel the message inside the film on how you want to show the audience like, yes, this is me showing you what happens throughout the situation, the people that are serving, as well the reasons why we change. So how was that process? You mentioning that it's been 6 years. How was that process of gaining so many footage of these dishes? Because I know I do see that in the film you have different wildfires. How was the process to being able to acquire all this film and all this data to be able to make the film?
Yeah, well, I think making a documentary, especially, is more about what you don't show than what you do show. I mean, it's important to, like, I think, start very wide in a issue piece like this, right? Where I came at this with an understanding of fire that was maybe a little bit more deep, a little bit more advanced than the average person, but I had a lot to learn. And I came at it with an idea of where we were going to go, but I really let the issue, um, as we researched, as we talked to more and more experts, uh, the film basically invites people along on this journey that I took to understand how are we going to live and thrive with more and more fire in a hotter, drier world, right? And so, yeah, I think that we had to go very wide at first to really wrap our minds around it. Because I wanted to say, hey, this film, you can watch this, and I think you can understand the direction that the conversation about Wild and Fire is. Where are we going? Where are we going to be in 5 years? What are we going to be talking about? This is the conversation, right? And we had to just sort of start peeling off the nuances and some of the stuff that we weren't going to talk about, I guess. And boy, it was also just sort of trial and error, like we watched. I work when I make films. I work pretty emotionally. Like, I'm not a director who can sit down and really perfectly write out a paper edit, right? Like, I kind of need to say, let's try this and this order, and let's feel how it feels, and let's watch it together, and let's say, okay, I'm not feeling enough of this. I'm feeling too much of this, and then we come up with another iteration of it. And so yeah, that's like, it's a slow process in a lot of ways. And sometimes I watch it and I say, it feels like it needs another shot here. And because I shoot and I direct, so when I think, okay, we need something to explain this visually, often I can conceive of it in my head and then go get it. Just go say, okay, I'm gonna go get that shot. And sometimes that meant getting my basic firefighter training so I could go out, during a wildfire and film, sadly, homes burning down and forests burning down, and how they burn. Or, going to South Carolina and filming in this lab where they burn down homes to figure out the weak points. So yeah, long and hard process.
So, Trip, what would be the initial process for yourself? You mentioning that you shoot as well scenes. How is it? How do you get prepared for being on a live wildfire to be able to shoot?
Yeah, well, I had to. It was quite a process, right? At first, I thought I was gonna sort of stand back, I guess, a little bit more than I ended up in the end. So at first, a lot of the shots, and I'm really glad that I did this. But at first, I really focused on trying to understand the way wildfire moves across a landscape by positioning myself like on a mount, the next mountain over, and with a long, long lens filming, or with a wide lens, filming a time lapse. And you can see a lot of those shots in the film throughout, but those were the earlier shots that I got of fire. And as I started to feel more and more comfortable, I was also filming with the Yurok, and I was filming them doing the actual burning themselves, holding drip torches and moving through a fire. So I got to really observe how fire moved on a landscape. And then I decided, oh, if I get my firefighter certification, basic training, I'll know how to be out here and be safer, and I can get closer and do more things. So I went ahead and just did that class. And and then I really started getting. I mean, you can see that some of the intro shots. Um, I'm filming very close to burning buildings, which is, I mean, it's awful, right? You're watching someone's life change so dramatically before your eyes, even if they're not present. We're so attached to our homes. It's the place we feel safe. It's where we keep our memories. And so, that's a very emotional part of it. And it's a hard thing to watch. But I felt like I had to be there to witness, to say, this is how homes burn down. I want to show this. I want people to understand this so that we can prevent it in the future. So yeah, I was like very close up, and very like in, neighborhoods that firefighters were fighting hard to protect, and making sure I was staying out of their way, but making sure I was getting the footage we needed to get.
That's just amazing. Um, what would be something that you would like to film in the future? You have been doing these nature documentaries. What would be something else that you would like to do future wise? Let it be another documentary, or let it be a feature film or a short film.
Yeah. Um, so I get really excited about sort of concepts and learning. Um, and so, I think maybe my enthusiasm for a film follows my curiosity, I guess. Um, and so one thing I'm really excited about, is I produced a show called Weathered for PBS, which it's kind of like Elemental, but multi-threat and in bite-sized pieces. So it's about climate change, extreme weather, how extreme weather is changing, and how we can prepare. And we're doing this big multi-platform series, that comes out in a year. But we're going to go to the Arctic. We're going to go to the county in the United States that's warming the fastest, and look at those changes. So, to me, it's like we hear about and we talk about climate change a lot, I think, in general, right? And I just want to be there. I want to deeply understand what we're talking about when we look at these changes, um, from the perspective of, on the ground. What does it look like right in front of me? Um, what does polar ice melting look like? What does permafrost thaw look like? Um, the other thing is, I gotta admit, I'm pretty excited about by extreme weather. Like it's a little bit of storm chasing, a little bit of adrenaline is pretty fun for me. So I expect the other part of that will be filming uh, hurricanes. I bet filming hurricanes this year is in my future. I think
That
I'm good on tornadoes. they're a little less predictable than I wanna be involved in. But, um but yeah, uh, I think a lot about my career is sort of, like, documenting beauty and destruction, and that change is such a powerful moment that, uh, there are so many emotions that come with it, that it kinda helps me stay grounded in this moment where the world is changing so much, to just be there and bear witness, and show people what I'm seeing as well.
Okay. Is Do you think that elemental should be part of like how would I say this? Like you know that there are certain science teachers that go ahead and like explain global warming and explain it on a textbook.
Mhm.
But do you think that it would be a good idea to present elemental as part of a curriculum, on that portion of talking about, you know, these wildfires, global warming, and what a small thing can affect a whole community?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, and we're actually, you know, right now we're sort of figuring out our educational release of the film, right? We're planning, for it, and I mean, I think it would be so generative to have this film in as many colleges, as many classrooms, high school, middle school, as possible. And, we showed it actually, when we premiered at the Mill Valley Film Festival. We As part of that, we showed it to a group of elementary school kids into middle school, and they asked excellent questions. They understood it and they saw it, and I was really impressed. I kind of left just being like, "Oh man, the kids are all right. Kids are doing pretty well," you know, um, because it's a complicated subject, it's a complicated film, and they were just right there with it. So yeah, and I think one of the coolest things for the educational realm is that this is a great start to a conversation. There are so many, tips of the iceberg that are mentioned to this film that students can then research on their own for, research projects, or teachers can say, let's dive into this more deeply. Let's dive into that more deeply. And it is rigorously fact checked. The whole film, um, you know, everything that is said is backed up by peer reviewed research. And so I think that I don't think there's another, I think this is a great format, for having a deeply informed conversation about fire, about climate, and about how we relate to those things, which often is how we build and maintain and change our structures and our communities.
Okay. Is by any chance elemental gonna have like different languages or subtitles for like
Yeah,
different schools with different
yeah,
languages?
absolutely. Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's amazing.
we already have Spanish. Um, I'll admit that we did a poor job on the first Spanish translation. We had some native speakers watch it and be like, "That's not gonna cut it." Actually, in the winter, we improved our Spanish subtitles, and we're working with some folks who are gonna maybe dub it, so it'll be even easier to watch. And then a few more languages are happening. I'm not exactly sure which will be confirmed, but definitely. And I mean, fire is, s- you know, obviously it's not just the United States that's
Yeah.
experiencing extreme fire these days. Spain, for example, Portugal, Australia, we hear about in the news, Siberia, even. I don't know if we're going to get a Russian translation. We'll see, but but yeah, I think it's a story that is rooted in the American West, but is applicable so much farther than that.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked.
No, the reason why I ask is because you know uh personally my mother is a science teacher, so just to present her to this, like, hey, look, you can provide this to your students, because I'm somebody that likes the fact that you can use a documentary and just present it to the youth or to adults, to the whole general public, like they can show them this is happening. Open your eyes, or or make a change, I would say. So that's why I wanted to ask if it will be available in other languages.
Oh yeah.
Is Elemental going to be in major VOD and streaming platforms?
Yeah, on June 13th, it's going to be on Apple and Amazon and a lot of the other majors. It's already available for pre-order on Apple. So if you go to elementalfilm.com, there's a streaming link, and you can already click that link. You can already um, do a pre-order, and it'll be up, for forever there. So I'm excited about it. Can't wait for the. I mean, it'll be so nice to share this wider even than theaters. We've been showing it for 3 months in theaters, and it's been so cool to have these intimate conversations with people afterwards. But boy, yes, we can finally share it with everyone now.
No, no, I can imagine, because the conversation is such a wide open conversation, and it's interesting because you can start talking about the wildfires, and then you can go ahead and move forward with global warming, and then from global warming you can just sit down and say, like, okay, so if this is affecting A, it could affect B, so the conversation can continue moving forward. So Trip, what would be your next upcoming project? You did mention the PBS show, but do you have any other projects upcoming besides the PBS show?
Well, I'll just say that it's hard, as you said, like so many conversations get started from this kind of research. And so yeah, I'm really interested in the way we, similar to this film, I think there's a lot of solutions that we are not, that we're not sort of all on the same page about when it comes to climate adaptation and preventing climate change from getting worse. And so yeah, I'm already, it's impossible not to be developing the next feature in my head the whole time. So yeah, it will be climate and solutions, but with a, I think what we lack is there's sort of this techno optimist field of climate media that's like technology will save us, it's going to be fine. And then there's this doomsday um, sort of genre of climate media, and I don't think either of them are true. I think the combination of the two um, is the most exciting to me, you know. And I think that's resonating with viewers. I think people do understand and believe the weight and gravity of it, but also the human potential. I don't think we're doomed. I do think we'll be doomed if we don't change course and we don't use the resources at our fingertips. And so that's, yeah. I mean, I think that's the kind of direction that I'm always trying to go with my work. And so yeah, yeah, I see another feature coming.
No, no, that's amazing. I completely agree with you. You know, there's a lot of resources out there that we can use to be able to save our little planet and move forward for a better future. So Trip, thank you very much for your time to talk about Elemental, and can't wait for the release like that everybody can enjoy and with this documentary. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye bye.